Alright, Jadyn, let's take a look at your essay. So, I like how you start this with an anecdote. You have an specific example of mass hysteria, and kind of put this woman in the shoes, and you start off with a story about what's going on with Miss Truffa. I don't know. What I would say with it though is you need proper punctuation. Just say either the year is 1518 and Mrs. or the year is 1518 period and then Mrs. So watch out for that punctuation concern there. And then you explain it, which is fine. A lot of you are throwing in the crucible in the introduction. I'm not 100% sure why you are all doing it. It's not that it's bad, it's just there are more effective ways of handling it. I don't know if my phone's going off in the background, but I am not about to walk 20 feet to my desk to go turn it off. So hopefully it doesn't bother you. Or keep going off like it just did. But anyways, what was I saying? So you're using it as an example, but I don't think you necessarily need to have it in the introduction. I think you could actually get rid of that sentence and just leave it with mass hysteria is caused by human nature. And then right here, another punctuation concern. Either put a period or use a semicolon, and then say media, while it does play a role in spreading hysteria throughout different areas, is not the initial cause of hysteria. This was proven in various occurrences. For example, in various occurrences, and then maybe put a period there, I think would be better. For example, wait, hold on. Let me think about this. I'm talking a lot. Let me think for a minute. Okay. Instead of saying, for example, what would work better is if you said including. This is proven in various occurrences, including when many school children were thought to be ill, and in the evidence found based on human behavior. Which tells me this is going to be about illness, which it looks like it is, and then human behavior. But I think let's make your introduction a little bit better. Let me pull up Microsoft Word. That's not to you. That's also not you. Here we go. The year is 1518. Mrs. Trophy lives in Strasbourg, Alsace. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. Suddenly intense need. Okay, we all know this is good. Every day, I always forget this, and Google Docs doesn't catch it. Every day is two separate words, but Google Docs does not catch that. 15 people died due to exhaustion, stroke, or you want to say a heart attack. So you're actually missing a couple words here and there as I'm looking through this on Microsoft Word here and there. And then I just say get rid of the crucible and just come right out with saying mass hysteria. Well, actually, you need something to connect this. Actually, let me bring that back up. You have the crucible being an example of paranoia, but you don't have something connecting this to mass hysteria. So maybe say something like, oh, why is that bolded? Don't say that. But these strange occurrences are linked to some form of mass hysteria where large groups of individuals become fearful or become part of a frenzy for some reason. Mass hysteria for some reason, most notably through some instance of human nature. And that's a little bit awkward, but it connects it to the human nature component. Mass hysteria is caused by human nature. Media, while it does play a role in spreading hysteria throughout different areas, is not the initial cause of hysteria. This is proven in various occurrences, including when many school children were thought to be ill, and in the evidence found based on human behavior. Instead of doing this, say this. Mass hysteria becomes evidently controlled by human nature because of its link to human behaviors. Something like that would be a little bit better. Just make sure that your thesis could be something more along the lines of relating to human nature and whatever. So, your intro overall is pretty good, though. I think you can tweak some information in the middle, and I really like the anecdotal. And what's really interesting is, at the time I'm grading your essay, Jadyn, is I'm so sorry I've wasted 5 minutes of your time already. But by the time I'm grading your essay, I've done all my regular English classes, and I've gone through everyone before you alphabetically in honors. You were the first one to do an anecdote, and this is an anecdote done well. So that is good job. A good job there. So when we move on to your next body paragraph, your first body paragraph, you talk about mass hysteria, simply human nature. Maybe just leave it with a period, and then humans watch others do things and become compelled to do the same. Or even swap this out. Humans are compelled to do the same as those who they watch. And then you have this example of the trembling, and then you have some analysis here. Only one girl was needed to create a plethora of kids faking their sickness. And then you have this other example in Switzerland. And then participate in something considered a legend. Humans' brains complex, intelligent, and that comes a simple understanding of wanting to do things that others have done or are doing. So you actually have some really good analytical components in here. So I think you're very quick and precise with your elements. And you have some good, quick analysis components that are here as well. And no major... Actually, I would get rid of this here. I think the biggest thing I'm noticing grammar-wise, aside from your punctuation, is you just need to be a little bit more cognizant of adding or deleting words, because sometimes you have a little bit too much. And I think that's just kind of your stream of consciousness writing that's going on. But this is a pretty good paragraph. You have an okay topic sentence, could be improved. And then you have this about what they want to do. And then you move into hysteria. How it can be caused by many different factors, like these different components of human behavior, which is good. And you talk about some physical things. Right here we do have a contraction. You don't want any contractions in your essay. And you actually have one right before it. Right there. So you have the analysis that, even though it's discussed in the article, it's so basically analysis, explains how hysteria occurs. But here's the tricky part. If you ever ask a question in a body paragraph, I want you to get rid of it and just answer the question. You don't really necessarily need questions in your body paragraph, because at the only point you should have questions is if you're ending an essay or beginning it, because you're leading in your essay with the reader to think about something, or you're leaving your reader to think about something. So in this case, don't get rid of it. Just talk to us right away that hysteria affects so many people, because once people are in groups, they tend to agree or do what others do. And then you talk about the specific example. And then you leave with a quote. Having a quote isn't the best way to end your body paragraph. You would want to add something to extend to that. So you say the conclusion was hold on. You will need to add a word here. The conclusion was that, for this to make sense and flow together better, was that group consensus seems to induce a change of attitudes in which subjects are more likely to adopt more extreme positions. And then maybe you can just say that about how, just a quick sentence about how being in groups, it doesn't matter how media falls into it, because we replicate other people. We don't need media for that, which would be a great transition into your next paragraph about your opposition about media being more potent. And so you have some stuff about media and not as powerful. You have some contractions again, connect different areas. What you may want to add with media is you do need a specific example of what people are going to say about that position. What's the specific example they will have where media is more potent in it? Because right here is you bring up a previous example with some analysis. So that's good because you're bringing it up, but you need specific stuff for the opposition. And right here, the media gives a bigger platform for information to be spread, giving more opportunities for hysteria to occur. And then get rid of the comma. This is a comma splice. Without the programming naturally in humans' brains, mass hysteria would just be another what if, which is good. So I think that's a good way to end. Just get rid of that comma splice. So finally, when we get into your conclusion, mass hysteria is the cause of human nature. You actually have that switched up. Hold on, I'm just writing on your rubric. That's the word. Just making sure I get everything I want to in case I forget it. Anyways, I think you have that swapped. Human nature is the cause of mass hysteria, because that's more what you're looking at. And the media, while it does play a role in spreading hysteria throughout different areas, not the initial cause. Put a period there, make that. You're splitting up two independent clauses with a comma, which is the comma splice. You don't want to do it. And then you talk about the articles and recapping what it is in the crucible. And because I got rid of the crucible earlier and what I gave you for the example, throw that in a body paragraph. You are good to go. And then here we go. If they do not give in, they are strong and are confident. In other words, comma, because that's an introductory clause. Hysteria is a good judge of character. I'm pausing a little bit because this detracts from the rest of your essay. So you talk about how people being manipulated and stuff, but I'm a little thrown off at. I mean, I understand you're saying if they don't give in, they're strong, but that doesn't necessarily mean mass hysteria is a good judge of character. I think what you're trying to get at is our response to mass hysteria is a good judge of character. So whatever that is. So Jadyn, overall, your conclusion is okay. It does restate some main points. Your ending is a little bit awkward. Your opposing side, you do refute it, but you don't necessarily have the example of the opposing side, and that is what you need. You have some pretty good examples with analysis. I think you can buff it out a little bit more in your body paragraphs. And then you stuck to third person, which is good. And then whatever it is. And I think the biggest thing to improve your writing is you are someone who's pretty well spoken. I think in your writing it's just not translating because I think you're just thinking a little bit too much. So consider that as we move forward. But let's take a look. 4 edits. And of course this is not going to work right now. But if we look at this, and you clearly, hopefully, worked on this quite a bit. You've got a few different things here and there. So I know that you looked at it a few different ways. Okay. Wow, good job. Anyways, sorry that you had to hear that noise. But, I mean, you did work on it here and there and added some things and tweaked it. I think you just need to tweak it a little bit more. And I think part of it is, even though you worked on this from maybe in an hour span that I'm pulling up, I think just retweaking it. I know you're well spoken. I think you just added some extra words on accident, or you're missing some things. I don't know. I'm not Jadyn Richmond. I can't tell you what was going through your mind as that happened, but just consider that as you move forward.